So as we get ready to build this guy, I want to take a moment and talk a little bit about how your design and your motion work together in a program like Animate. We understand animation traditionally is where every frame of a film is a separate drawing. And as you advance from frame to frame, as the film plays forward, each drawing replaces the one that came before it. And your drawing may be done by hand, and you sketch it out, and then you color it, you clean it up, and all those steps. It's a traditional workflow, which can be done in Animate. It's going to be very time-consuming and repetitive, and you may not have a schedule or a budget that affords you that time. And so what Animate does is it leverages a feature set that can save you time, but you have to kind of approach your animation in a different way. So rather than the traditional method of one drawing replacing the next, which essentially is, let's describe that as you are drawing motion. The motion happens from the change from frame to frame. Rather than drawing motion, let's flip it around and say we're going to move drawings around. So what does that look like? That would be taking this approach where you have a character is, in this case, we'll say each one of these parts is a separate drawing. And you're just moving these around. So it doesn't have to be redrawn from frame to frame. It's the same drawing that's persisting across every frame, across your entire timeline. And the only thing that's changing about it is that it might be, in this case, the arm, it's going to rotate, or it's going to change its position, or it's going to scale, or it might actually bend and warp or deform itself somehow. Those are the two main ways, we'll focus on those two for now, on how you can make things move in Animate. And so rather than thinking about I'm going to draw a whole silhouette of a single drawing of a cat, I'm going to actually have a whole bunch of basically separate movies all playing at the same time. And each movie is a different part of your character. So like this arm is a movie of the arm, and it's just going to swing back and forth like that as he's walking. And this leg's going to swing back and forth as he's walking. Maybe this body's going to like bounce and stretch and everything, And there's a dozen or so of these layers, and they're all kind of stacked on top of each other. And when they play back, in synchronization, you get the illusion of a single drawing. It's really not. It's a bunch of parts that are sliding around and moving and bouncing and stretching on top of each other. And that's the approach to what we call puppet animation in Animate, or using a rig. And if I switch this over to make it a little brighter so you can see it a little better, make this outline mode, and you can see that it doesn't look like a drawing anymore. It looks like a bunch of parts that are overlapping. There's even stuff in here that's not even like, the silhouette's completely changed because there's a lot of things that are invisible and not rendering it fully here. So if you can kind of wrap your head around that idea that we're not going to be making one drawing to the next, but building essentially it's a paper doll, and moving that around, you'll be well on your way to kind of getting into the mindset for how we're going to approach making a character and animating it. So I guess we can go ahead and get started. Let's make our guy.